Welcome to What the Heck's, your source for Warhammer Underworlds and under 30 attacks made in the single action step. I'm your co-host, Davy, savaged again and again by zombies. I'm on my own this time, but I have a guest who always knows how to do the dance or puppeteer, and that's Wellner. How are you?
Doing quite well.
Thanks for coming on. We've been doing a little bit of a deep dive into different warbands while we've got some time between releases, and I couldn't think of anyone more suited to deep dive the Exiled Dead than you, sir. So welcome to the show, and thanks for making the time.
Well, I thank you for that confidence, and it's always good to be here.
Well, for listeners' context, it is March 12th. This is a little bit more than a week before you'll first have the chance to hear this episode. We've got no particular news. There's been some events going down that have had some interesting winners, which I have not been able to dig deep into those, but we're going to take another look at those. I heard about Ripa's doing well somewhere, so that's pretty exciting. I got to play against them, and I think they are now quite good, or at least very interesting. So be looking into that a little bit. But before we get into our...
I haven't gotten to play against Ripa.
Oh, really? Gosh, it's so funny because every time you say I haven't played against X or something, and then I'm like, well, I think they're good, and then I have to think, but are they good against Exiled Dead? Because that's I'm like,
well,
they're just such a parallel sort of thing. We'll talk more about that in a second here. Before we do that, I'm going to get to community shout outs. I just had a quick one. We don't shout them out very often, but we should. Agents of Sigmar released just a little shorty, less than 10 minutes, their take on the meta. And it's kind of a refreshing watch. It's about how wide open they think it is. And it's not just their opinions. They've kind of talked to some folks that they trust the opinions of and all that. And very digestible, very fun little bit of Pete and Robin talking about where they think the game's at. And I think, in summary, pretty wide open. Wellner, do you have anything that you wanted to shout out? Any person or a resource in the community?
Yeah, I would like to shout out Jake from Goonhammer, as well as Spinnerite. They're just lovely people to talk to over on the Vassal Discord, and every interaction I have with them is fantastic. Jake and I have had some fun games of Underworlds personally as well.
Good couple of folks. It's funny you mentioned Spinnerite. I'm looking in the DMs. My most recent Discord DMs are with you setting this up, but the next person down is Spinnerite, who's saying, hey, should I take something meta or take something crazy and go with it? And I was like, I don't think you really need me to answer that. I think you know what your heart wants. So
the correct answer is always crazy.
Yeah. But that's it. We're going to jump into the Exiled Dead. Before we do, though, I want to just... Folks have heard your name quite a few times because we talk about our local games, and we often refer to you as our mad scientist. But when did you get your start with Underworlds, and tell us some of your Underworld story? What would have been your favorite war bands? What's drawn you to the game and kept you in there?
Well, so I started playing Underworlds, God, what is it, 3 years ago now? This is my third Adepticon. I consider that to be my real anniversary point with the game, just because I went the first year I started playing effectively. After 3 months, because I started in December that year, or the year before, effectively, with my buddy Zach, who is on your podcast now. And the two of us were playing Song of Ice and Fire, alternating Thursdays over on the other side of the board game hall, and every now and then I'd peer over and see you guys playing, and I think someone was playing Canaans at the time, and I thought those were Necrons. So I popped over and asked after the night had ended, being like, hey, I saw Necrons at the table, y'all play, is that Kill Team, or is that... and Skylar put me straight and recommended your guys' podcast to listen to. So I listened to the how to learn how to play episode. I don't remember what the episode number was. I think it was 180 something.
That's if it was 3 years ago, it's going to be much earlier than 180. But yeah, point being, I think that was a good idea that Brian had. Hey, let's do a little bit more beginner focused stuff. So I'm glad that found you.
And then I showed up the next week, which was your league ender with I think it might have been Rivals Hexbanes.
All right.
And then I borrowed Alex's what were they? The chaos worshipping, they just came back out. I'm blanking on their name. Gorl. Snarl Spirit Path, GSP.
Yeah. That would have been right in the PAX heyday too.
But borrowed that, and then like the next week after that, Skylar pulled out the bin of donations, and that's where I grabbed the Exiled Dead and haven't stopped since.
No, you have not. Through editions. I think you might have the honor of my weirdest game of Underworlds, and that was at Nova, where you and I faced off, and I think the score is like, it might have been like 2-1 or 3-1 after 2 rounds of lots and lots of attacks going back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nova that year was a wild time. Between you, me, and Jake, we had some silly games.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. So a lot of Exiled Dead. I know you've done Loon Court on the side. I know when a board was on the line, we got to see some Gits come out with Catapillage in not this league, but the previous one. But would you say?
I just had to see if I still dislike them.
Would you say is it something about hordes that draws you, or something else that's kind of that? Am I incorrect to associate that sort of set of warbands with you?
No, I really am just kind of a horde style guy in every game ever. Like I played Zerg in StarCraft 2 for a long time. I played Goths for a bit in Age of Empires 2.
Okay.
But my big thing, like in Diablo and other ARPGs, I've always been the summoner guy. Like I play totems in Path of Exile occasionally. Diablo 2, I played Necromancer. I've just always been the how many bodies can I put on the board kind of guy. I play guard in 40K when I can. Yeah. I've got them staring at me over in the room over there.
Yeah, so that must be guard with not so many tanks, but just lots of people. Is that?
Oh yeah. All
right.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's talk about what we came here to talk about, and that is the Exiled Dead. We're going to kind of run down this similar to how, if folks listen to the previous episode, we're going to kind of talk the War Scroll and the fighters. And since you're the person we brought on, I'll actually give you the option. Do you think we're better off starting with the War Scroll or starting with the fighters? What do you think makes more sense?
It's best to start specifically with the Inspire condition and then go to the fighter cards to examine what you're bringing to the table, and then come back to the War Scroll again.
All right.
Just because of how the fighter cards function.
All right. Let me read off that Inspire here, and you can bounce back to it. So the Inspire. Friendly minions begin the game inspired after an enemy fighter is slain by a friendly minion, inspired Daintalos and Markov.
Yeah, so what that means is you've got your 5 minions. You've got Regulus, Bolt, Vlash, Ion, and Coil. And if you've played them in the first edition, they're largely similar to that. There's a couple notable differences here. One, all 4 of the conductive fighters, so Bolt, Vlash, Ion, and Coil, we'll get to what that keyword means in a second here, start on 2 damage, which is absurd.
Yeah.
That being said, they are also remarkably inaccurate at a 2 swords profile. So all of them are virtually the same. They're 3 move, 1 block, 2 wounds. They are worth a glory, or as I lovingly refer to them as dollars. Just I use that term interchangeably.
Yeah.
And 3 of them have crit stagger. So if you do somehow get a crit on your 2 dice, you can throw out that stagger token.
Okay.
The one exception to that rule is Vlash, who has cleave instead of crit stagger. And that's a really important piece of this puzzle because it gives you free access to a more accurate attack if you really want that attack to slip through.
Okay.
Your final minion there is Regulus. He also starts the game inspired, and he is the same 3 wound move, 1 block, 2 wounds, $1. He, however, is range 2 for 2 hammers with guaranteed stagger for 2 damage. So he is your accurate piece with the extra range to bop people over someone's head.
Sure, yeah. And so all 5 of those start inspired, correct?
Correct. And they uninspire as per the rules when they die. Because when we get to it, they like to come back. So I'll go over their uninspired sides as well real fast. The 4 conductives all drop to 1 damage with one exception, that being Coil. He stays on 2 damage. They all, however, lose crit stagger, but Vlash keeps his cleave. So you have Vlash on 1 range, 2 swords, 1 damage with cleave. Coil on 1 range, 2 swords, 2 damage. And then the other 2 are 2 swords for 1. Regulus just flips from hammers to swords, so he gets a lot less accurate.
And it looks like, although there's a rule to mitigate this, it looks like the conductive minions all lose a point of movement as well.
Yes, that as well. They do get slower.
So Bolt and Ione are interchangeable. There's no distinguishable difference between the two. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
They are functionally the same fighter. Though I would not call them expendable. Even though they are interchangeable, they lose the most out of going down. So they're actually the 2 you want to protect the most. I've found in personal experience, Coil is the expendable one, which is such a change from the first edition.
That's interesting, right? Because he loses so little from becoming uninspired. Retains damage, retains no change to accuracy. All he really loses is a point of movement and crit stagger. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the 2 bosses then, real quick. Then, what they're bringing to the table.
Profiles wise, because a lot of what actually makes this warband unique isn't the profiles; it's what the War Scroll does with these profiles. So we'll start with Mark. We'll start with the leader, Daintalos. He is 3 move, 1 block, 4 wounds. So not durable per se, but he can take a hit sometimes. Operative word sometimes. But he does have some really potent attacks. He has a range 2 beating stick for 2 hammers, 2 damage with stagger. And then he has a range 3 bolt, uninspired, for 2 hammers, 1 damage, cleave. So you can use him to set up if you have someone in his face, but you're generally better off doing something else. And he's also a pretty solid execution tool. If you've got the 1 damage, you need to sneak through 3 hammers with cleave. Really solid attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially at range.
Oh, 100%. It's in this edition, 3 hammers is supreme accuracy. Then we've got Prentice Markov. 3 move, 2 dodge, the only fighter uninspired who has 2 dodge, 3 wounds, and then he has a range 1, 2 hammers attack with 1 and Grievous. So he is another source of 2 damage for the warband. Average accuracy, I would say. I'd put 2 hammers and 3 swords roughly about the same as being the standard in this edition. Anything below that is inaccurate. Anything above that he is accurate. And then when any of the minions get a kill, so Regulus, Bolt, Vlash, Ione, or Coil, Markov and Daintalos will inspire. What that does for them, Daintalos gets an extra defense dice, as well as an extra attack dice on both of his attacks. So he becomes very accurate and still reasonably durable.
Yeah.
But the amount of times I've had 2 dodge fail on me, peak cinema.
Yeah. Well, the extra defense dice on Daintalos 2 shields is got to be pretty welcome coming from first edition.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems with him in first edition was he was a very important piece and didn't have that second defense dice, while other people who were just as important had that. And I'm sitting here being like, why can't I have nice things? I knew why I couldn't have nice things. It's because the warband did what it did. But
okay, so I think we got a good feel for the stats. How hard would you say that you push for that inspire on the leaders? Is that, I mean, there's a good chance that it's just kind of going along with your game plan anyway, but how crucial and how early are you trying to get that?
It depends on the matchup. Like if I'm playing against, let's say, Skittershank's Claw Pack, where I know they're going to teleport behind me and then try to gut Daintalos in the street, I think I need that second defense dice to at least make that math not be outright terrible for me. So I'm probably going to try to send a bomb Regulus charge into a minion just to try to get that inspire early.
Sure.
I've had similar interactions with Elephanes, where I try to kill the fish just to inspire.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like watching them. They just getting hyped up, watching this fish get pummeled by a zombie. What's going on there?
Yep. I've had lots of games against Brian where I've like assassinated Squirt just to get the dentist and Markov inspired.
Yeah, and
trying to kill them very unfavorable.
And another defense dice against gardeners who already struggle a bit with accuracy is pretty huge. So that tracks if you can get it. Yeah, very cool. All right, well let's work through some of the rest of the War Scroll, because big portions of this really inform how you consider this warband. I think it's probably worth talking puppeteer and dance dynamic, and then going back to the left side of the War Scroll. Does that sound about right to you?
I would agree. I would agree.
So dance dynamic is a core ability, and that is pick your leader to use this ability. If they have no move or charge tokens, pick either the move or the attack ability. Each friendly conductive fighter can use that ability. Then you can pick a slain conductive fighter, raise that conductive fighter, place them in an empty hex adjacent to your leader, and then inflict 1 damage on them.
Yep. So this is the bread and butter of the warband. If you played against them in first edition, this is going to be very similar to what it was then, though there's a couple notable changes to it. In exchange for getting an extra block on his profile, the dentist lost the ability to beatbox and move, so he does not get to be conductive with his friends anymore. He just has to stand there and tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Which is a big change. It means he's significantly less mobile, even if it had that first clause of no move or charge tokens, and he could move with the zombies. It would still wildly change how you played with Daintalos.
I think in our most recent game, I think I noticed that it just would, if you didn't have some other way to bring him up, all of a sudden your raising would happen further and further away from that front line of zombies if the other side was retreating, you know?
Correct. And that's why in deck building, having a lot of pushes is a very valuable tool, even if it's not for Daintalos himself, but just for reshuffling the line. Having pushes, having out-of-sequence movement is vital tool to have.
Sure.
Especially because of the other half of it, since you can pick either move or attack, you can try to line up a nice conga line and then bounce a guy down the line, assuming they don't stand fast, or are an elf with guaranteed stand fast. And so you've got the ability to do a lot of damage very quickly, assuming you can get your fighters into position with that out of sequence tempo, because you're not going to be charging a lot with these guys. Like, you can. The amount of times I've shocked people by saying I hard charge with coil, it's a tool that you need to remember that you can do. Something I've forgotten in recent past. But the amount of times, hard charging with a zombie is oftentimes the right move. Is never something to discount.
What are the circumstances you most find? You say you'll surprise people with that. What's kind of the board state look like when you're saying, like, actually this is the time? Is it is there like some tendency of like, hey, it usually means that X, Y, or Z has occurred, or what kind of leans you that way?
It's usually when a kill shot is lined up. So a pretty solid example of this is going to be from the version 1 times. I was playing against Jake Bennington from Goonhammer at Nova, and he had Duval, I believe, on a objective token at the time, treasure tokens now, staggered after having delved it, or not delved it, because he was playing Hungering Parasite. Duval had the Parasite. Staggered. So I'm able to send Coil deep into territory for a 3 damage swing after a fresh ping had come down from the Parasite. I don't think there's a better chance than that to just say, all right, I think it's high time that Duval meets his maker. So the hard charge comes through.
Yeah.
Because, 2 swords for 3 damage with a stagger reroll is a supremely accurate attack in those days. Nowadays, it's still pretty accurate, but
yeah,
2 dice is not what it used to be.
Right. Since your crits can't power through on somebody else's lack of crits. I think another thing that you mentioned that I want to kind of roll back to a little bit. I think when I first look at this warband and I have played or think about playing, I always try to get that crowd around somebody and just start flailing on them, and that's kind of like the obvious use of this. But you mentioned like kind of pinballing someone, and you've done this to me more than once. It'll take a fighter where I'm like, I don't actually need to move, or I don't need to change positioning. I think I'm okay. He's only got like 1 attack that he can line up, but then you'll use this dance, do something to boost the accuracy on that first attack, which launches my fighter over to somebody else who gets a swing, who launches him to somebody else. And now that's 2 people around. Like all of a sudden it went from like, even if he dances, I'm only getting attacked once. Like now I'm getting attacked 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, which usually I'm dead before that has a chance to happen. But I think that is one of the things that feels like one of the high skill ceiling portions of this warband is how to really get the positioning where you can take advantage of the dance dynamic, even in situations that don't immediately scream like, "Hey, you got the chance here."
Yeah, a lot of it is about finding the right time to pair them off. I find that having the zombies operating in 2 units, generally Vlash and Bolt and Ion and Coil, just because that's how I tend to set them up. But it's whichever 2 end up together.
Sure.
You can position them on opposite sides of one pair of fighters and then just bounce them between each other, or you can set them up in a line, bounce one guy down the big conga line. There's all kinds of options. You have it depends board state by board state and what kind of movement you have available. We'll get into this into deck pairings, but Flee is a fantastic card.
Oh yeah.
To position in weird ways.
Yeah. You mentioned that line because if you're all in a line, all you have to do is slide them to the next person in line. Then you're retaining supports all the way down. So I think that's a good example of a warning klaxon should be going off if you're seeing this line setting up like that. So,
yep.
Let's talk Puppeteer. This is pick a friendly Markov to use this ability. If they have no move or charge tokens, pick one of the following. That fighter and a friendly Regulus can each use a core ability that they are eligible to use. If a friendly Regulus is slain, raise them and place them in an empty hex adjacent to that fighter. This ability can only be used once per battle round.
Yep, this is the other half of the warband. In the first edition, you used to be able to multi-charge Regulus using this ability. Gone are those days. You do not get to see Regulus speeding around the board, making attacks every activation.
Yeah.
Not only is it once per game, or once per battle round, he has to specifically use an ability that he is eligible to use, which means if you charge with Regulus, at least how I've been playing it, I would be entirely okay if I'm wrong on this, but if you charge with Regulus before using Puppeteer, he is ineligible to do core actions because you can't choose him to do core actions.
That's interesting. Yeah, sure. Right.
At least that's the way the charge token rule is worded.
Yeah, the rulebook defines which core abilities cannot be used with a charge token specifically. So there's some weird edge cases that are like, this is a core ability. I'm thinking of like the Headsman's Teleport.
You could not Headcase, Headsman's Teleport, or from Reckless Fury, the Bellowing Tyrant. That's the card.
So how do you see this ability coming into play here? What's kind of the big leverage thing? I know talking to Brandon last week, he was really leery of the ability of this to lay out a sudden 4 damage if you can get both these guys to charge and attack the same target, and that's uninspired. It can be 5 if Markov is inspired.
If Markov's inspired,
yeah.
In most circumstances, I find it's going to end up being that double charge. It's just accurate. It's just extra accuracy if you can manage it. just because 2 attacks are better than 1, especially if Regulus goes and swings first, because then if he hits, lands the 2 damage, you have the stagger for Markov to come in for the hammer blow of
Sure.
2 hammers staggered with Grievous. Just a solid attack profile for you to end up using.
Yeah, so this can be like a hey, shoot the moon, like I'm trying to get to 4 or 5 damage, or it can be like, hey, I really want to push through 2 damage. I'm going to take two attempts at it.
Yep, 100%. That being said, there are other use cases of it. I've used it very often as a strip denial tool. We get to the final activation. I haven't used it. I'll walk Markov and Regulus onto a token and say, you can't push me off of both of these at the same time. Solve this puzzle. I've done very similar things where I walk onto an Aqua Gyranus with Regulus and then have Markov go and saunter onto a token. I've put Markov on guard and then had Regulus go and do something. The options are endless, especially when you take into account the scoring suites that you have access to, as well as the amount of options that you have when it comes to utility. That's something that's going to be very important to learn when starting to play Exiled Dead and picking them up and carrying them forward. They're not a warband you can play in like 4 reps. You can play them competently, I'd say, after 4 reps, but you're not going to know the full depth of things that you can do that quickly.
Yeah.
It really is a warband that rewards taking the time, learning board states, learning objective suites, and then preparing ahead of time, because you have to play so differently from any other warband.
Yeah, I and this is not not quite as applicable because this is a first edition story, but I remember thinking like, hey, I think I was trying like some kind of crazy build in first edition with them, but I was like, yeah, I mean, this should be fine. And losing Dynthalo so fast, and I was like, oh man, like it was just a thing where like, from the other side, it's one of these things. If it's flowing where like, man, this warband's so powerful, like let me get in on that, and then you try, you're like, oh, it is hard to get them to that power level. Like you're not just gonna pick up. It's not like picking up stat blocks and just tossing them at the enemy, sort of thing. So
no. This isn't Grand Patrick Worm's back.
That is what came to mind. We got the whole left side of the War Scroll minus the Inspire still to go. That's a Dynamic Enhancer, Overload, and Dynamic Surge. So what order do you want to take those in?
Let's start with the Overload, because it really defines what the rest of the warband is allowed to do and what objective suites you're allowed to play.
Okay.
Overload says friendly conductive fighters, so that's Bolt, Vlash, Ion, and Coil, cannot hold treasure tokens or delve. That was added almost immediately after they were announced to not have that rule, for good reason. I played them once before that got added, and it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Phil. I'm sorry, Phil.
Pillage already has some kind of amazing things for them, even if they can't delve, and if they can, holy cow. So yeah, that's a good adjustment.
The other half of it, which is going to be on your printed war scrolls, for those of you looking at home, is going to be friendly conductive melee weapons, excluding upgrades. An important caveat: have Grievous if the target has any stagger tokens.
Yeah.
So that means your 4 zombies, Bolt, Vlash, Ion, and Coil, if they are still inspired, have the ability to all swing for 3 damage if you so choose. Which is a lot.
And the uninspired restore themselves back to 2. I think especially what's wild about this is that it puts the stocks on staggers so high, because it's a accuracy and damage boost at the same time for these, which is rare. And it's a damage boost that is, we look at Grievous and say, well, it's +1 damage. Well, if you're attacking more than once, then we're talking it's maybe +2 or +3. And so I'll have a fighter. I've had a situation, I think it might have even been against you. I might have been using the Kurnoth's Heralds. I was like, I'm on 5 health. I'm pretty safe. And all of a sudden I was staggered. And I was like, oh, well, now this uninspired and inspired fighter together can do a boom, boom, dead. Like, oh, man, I went from like, I've got even if he gets lucky and lands them both, to that I've still got 2 health left, to like, oh, I might just die here. And it just, the math changes so quick on this overload. It is wild.
It is a very quick. It's a very quick readjustment of priorities when you realize what Stagger can do.
What next would you want to hit?
Next up is going to be Dynamic Surge, I would say. Dynamic Surge says you can reroll one attack die in an attack roll for friendly conductive fighters, while any other friendly conductive fighters are adjacent to that attacker. So that's where we get back into what I was talking about with pairing them off. Very often you'll see them working in teams of 2 to maximize the amount of value you're getting from Dynamic Surge. That it also means you can't disrupt. You can pick 1 or 2 of the teams to disrupt, but you can't disrupt both of them without some kind of out of sequence movement shenanigans.
Sure, that makes sense. And
importantly, it's a reroll that stacks with Stagger. So if you're really set up properly, it's 2 swords with 2 rerolls for 3.
Yeah, often with supports, which is rough.
Yep.
How about Dynamic Enhancer? Last one we haven't talked about.
Yep. The last ability is oftentimes the most important, but also the least flashy. Friendly conductive fighters have +X move, where X is the number of slain friendly conductive fighters. So they uninspire to 2 speed, but when that first one goes down, you've got speed 4 zombies shambling towards you. So they're quick.
It often makes me feel like I'm in a too bad choices thing. Like, particularly if there's one that's already been killed, I'm like, I can drop this guy so he's not in my face, but I'm not going to get any bounty for it. And it means these other guys get even faster. So wait, do I actually want to drop this guy? And so it just puts a lot of thought cycles on the opponent about the value in taking somebody out. It's a good one. And it's an easy one to forget because you can obsess over the other portions of this and all of a sudden be surprised at how fast a particular fighter becomes.
Yep. 1 extra speed oftentimes can make or break things. We all laugh at Sepulchral Guard for only having 2 speed. These zombies have that too, but they get faster and they can outspeed even the fastest of elves sometimes.
Is there anything before we kind of start to talk about deck pairings and such? Is there anything you want to talk about the warband, the war scroll, or the fighters as a basic thing before we move on to that?
Genuinely, I think that just the most important thing is to not forget that the zombies can do things individually. When you freshly raise a zombie and it comes back with no move or charge tokens, being aware that it can hard charge again is a very valuable tool. Same thing goes for Markov and Regulus. If the right thing is for Markov to do his own thing and not have Regulus do something because Regulus has already done a move and is weirdly out of position for whatever reason, or maybe Regulus has been given a move token.
Yeah.
The correct thing to do is probably still just have Markov do his thing. Don't always obsess about getting maximum dance value. Sometimes the right thing is still the most basic of thing.
That makes sense. The one thing I wanted to mention that we didn't hit as forcefully before is that because it's a 7-fighter warband, everyone's worth 1 bounty. And so I've had games where I'm like, I got to get Dauntless down. I've almost got him. I finally get him down after expending huge resources and effort. And there's only 2 actions left in the game. And I got 1 bounty for it. And all of a sudden I'm like, I might have been the wrong play because at this point there weren't so many dance things. Like dance was not as destructive. You just get so locked into killing him and the reward is often early it's huge. But even then,
if Dauntless dies in the first round or the first activation or 2 of round 2, you're not having a good time. But if you can keep him alive at least until the end of round 2, that's when you can start accepting the losses generally. Just say, all right, he did his job. I don't need to fall into the sunk cost fallacy and I can just accept that he's dead now. It's fine.
Yeah, I've definitely knocked him down and been like, all right, now I've got the win. And I'm like, no, I don't. I am still in huge trouble here. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind. All right, we are going to go through each rivals deck here, and this is something new we're going to try here. And we're going to have you rate each deck on how useful you think it is for this warband, and then when we're done, we'll kind of talk a pairing. But before we do that, just tell me generally what sort of things are you looking for when say there's a brand new deck getting released tomorrow. What things would you be looking for that would be a red flag for you to say, hey, this is an Exiled Dead deck, or this will be good with my Exiled Dead pairing?
Things that I would be looking for in general are going to be objectives that would want me to stand in places but not require me to hold things. I would dream of a day that Fearsome Fortress could come back. I would love for that specific deck to just come back.
Yeah.
We'd have a field day.
Yeah.
Just because since we can't hold or delve, you just want to be getting money for standing on things or in places. You want to find accuracy for your attacks, because as much as 2 swords with 2 rerolls sounds accurate, it really isn't in a world of 2 defense dice. I have gotten burned so many times. All right, that's 2 swords.
Yeah.
And Alex swings back with 2 block on his worm spell. I'm just like, yep, that's about what I expect.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon was talking about that last week, where a kind of end around was he would get a 2 defense fighter on guard in cover, and he's like, hey, you only have 2 dice to try and get through this. It really skews the math. Even with rerolls, that's a 2v2. It's probably going to look like 2 successes versus 2 successes.
Yep, 100%. And then the third big thing that I'm looking for is going to be out of sequence movement. If I can see sidestepless sidestep, so cards like Pilfer in addition to sidestep, or cards like Sidle Up, Commanding Stride, just any amount of pushing that can be done out of sequence to reposition my fighters without putting move or charge tokens out, as well as just doing it when I'm not supposed to be able to be doing things, opens the warband wide open.
Yeah, you mentioned Sidle Up. This might be the warband that is best, can make the best use of that. I know I've occasionally struggled to put it in with other warbands, but when I've seen it come out with the Exiled Dead, I'm like, oh no, this is terrible.
Yep.
The other thing that comes to mind for me would be if you've got some way to apply extra staggers on demand, is probably a valuable thing to find.
Yes, that was the next step with extra stagger tokens.
Yeah.
If you can get free stagger out without needing to rely on your opponent to delve for whatever reason against Exiled Dead, just wait. It's a very potent thing to be able to throw out on your own command. And then the last thing that you're going to be generally looking for is defensive stuff. It's not the most relevant thing, because if you're playing correctly, I would say the dentist is going to generally be already the most important target, and your job is to make him be an unappetizing target. He's got 4 health with 2 defense dice. That's a reasonably bulky profile to have to chew through in one attack. I say that, and we have things like Haymaker or 3 damage with Grievous on a lot of things right now. So he might just explode. I've had it happen. I have it happen a lot.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't just explode and you're able to get that crackback out, generally it's been a mistake to make that attack and not go for the safe, just eat a zombie move.
Yeah.
So ways to make that dive even less appetizing, always a helpful thing.
Yeah.
But just don't make it appetizing.
Yeah, you raise a really good point there, because there is this incentive to knock out Dantalos early, because of how big a chop it'll take out of your war scroll and your raise and all that sort of thing. But I'm often looking at that and I'm like, man, I have the tools to do it, but when I have to string together 2 individual attacks, and Wellner would have to have no escape route, through movement tricks or something like that, and you see your odds, this is dwindling down to a 20% chance to actually get everything to come together, and do I want to, if this doesn't land, then I'm in a really bad spot, and am I going to put the whole game on a 20% here right at the start. And for me, that answer is almost always no. Yeah. So any way you can nudge that number even lower is a good thing. So, all right. Well, we are going to march through the decks. I think I'm going to go roughly in release order here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a deck, and we're going to keep it relatively brief for each of these. And you're going to give me a rating anywhere from on a scale from 0 to 4 conductive minions, how you rate that deck, with 4 conductive minions being the best and 0 being don't want it at all. All right. Okay.
Sounds good.
Countdown to Cataclysm from the core box, 0 to 4. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
I feel like I have to put it at like 0.5. It's got a really solid power deck for you to use. It's got defensive stuff. It's got free stagger, but its objectives are just awful. You can't play set explosives. You can't play shocking assault. You can't play wreckers realistically. Uneven contest is also just straight out. You're basically bringing that to be able to say, I have 2 glory for free, and that's what I've got. We're calling it a day.
Fair enough. So you say 0.5. So say 1 uninspired conductive minion.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that jumped to mind was the staggers and the countercharge. I was like, yeah, it sounds great, but I hadn't thought about the restrictions on the objectives. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, the objectives are not playable.
Okay, well, let's go with something probably a little more appetizing. How about Pillage and Plunder?
Pillage and Plunder is a deck that I've been playing around with Exiled Dead. I want to put it firmly at a 2 with an uninspired as a treat. It takes a lot of effort to get there because you only have 3 fighters that can delve or hold anything, and so finagling like broken prospects and broken prospects is a bit difficult. Same thing for Torn Landscape, just because you have to be able to delve things and then keep them delved. So like it means you have to bring Crumbling Mine because you can walk a zombie on it and then Crumbling Mine it after the fact because they're not holding the treasure token. So you can Crumbling Mine it.
Sure.
I've had that happen to me before. Skylar did that to me when I was playing Gits.
Rough. Yeah, that makes sense.
But in exchange for a slightly more difficult power deck, you get some really fun tools. Trapped Cache is fun. Brash Scout is fun, though you don't actually need it. But for Regulus, and Markov are the people who are going to be using that. So you don't actually need to bring Brash Scout, which opens up another power card, which is really fun when that happens. You also get access to Canny Sapper, the rarely played stagger card that requires you to be adjacent to a fighter, which is just going to happen.
Yep.
As well as Commanding Stride, Blessed Commanding Stride.
Yeah, I think instinctively, at first glance, it didn't scream at me as something to take, but when you use it, it's like, oh, obviously, like you can, if there's a safe landing spot, you can bring Dantelos forward. You can use it to like escape if somebody's gotten in, maybe they've charged out. And Precisely. So yeah, big time. When your leader is that important, taking a leader restricted card, just fine.
Yep. There is one more detail that I want to bring up with Pillage and Plunder specifically that I also wanted to bring up kind of with Countdown, but it's less relevant there and more relevant here. An important part of Dance Dynamic that is allowed now, you can use
I was wondering when this is going to come up.
So Pillage and Plunder gives you the range 2 swords for 2, which is just a straight upgrade for a zombie. You also get the ranged attack, which is a straight upgrade for a zombie. Like, sure, you can't overload with it, but those are still accurate attacks. It allows you to pinball differently. So you can do some really shenanigansy things.
Let's see. So overload is the one. What's the other dynamic enhancer?
So Dynamic Surge still works.
Okay.
Because Dynamic Surge doesn't specify that it has to be a non-upgrade weapon that gives that when you get the reroll.
Got it.
You just have to be adjacent to another conductive fighter for the reroll.
Got it.
You don't get the Grievous, but you still get an extra free reroll.
Yeah, and the number of times where you're like, hey, I just have one zombie that's, like I can get one in. And this is the difference, between a dance being the only one attack or being two, which is huge. Two, if this buys you one extra action in the game, and it often is more, then that's worth whatever glory you spent on it.
Precisely. Yeah. Precisely.
Okay. And then I think we shouldn't overlook how crazy buttery smooth some of the surges are. Obviously,
the surge suite is.
They're great for other people, but like, holy bones, share the load does not require
free. Share the load free. Have a guy in every territory free. Yeah. You might as well have a 3D printer that says I make glory.
Yeah. I remember being horrified about how fast glory was racking up. You were just like casually, I was like, he's going to take an inconsequential action to get to me because I retreated back. And you're like, and I'll have like 2 glory for having done one dance. Like, oh my God, not good.
Stop that. It's not allowed.
Terrible news. All right, let's go next down the line. Emberstone Sentinels. What's your rating for this?
0 with the dead Diabolos.
Say no more. Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Supremacy, not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't hold treasure tokens with your zombies, so you're locked out of most of the scoring suite. Like, you get Confusion, which is one of the best cards in the game, but like, is it really worth the cost you're paying in objectives?
Not at all. And as we're going to notice, Confusion is available in another deck later. So,
yes.
All right, Blazing Assault.
I would give it a solid 3. I personally don't like it. I just don't like Blazing. It is a fault of mine. If you ever see a person with my username in the Discord playing Blazing Assault, it's an imposter. It's not me. I don't like the fact that it's gambling. Like, it's got free one glory end phases, but you need to be able to make up that somewhere else. And a lot of the options for making that up require very specific things. And some of those specific things you cannot do. Like, a pretty primo deck that would be a good pairing with Blazing is Pillage. And if you're having a trouble delving, you're just not going to be able to make up that glory difference.
Sure.
Emberstone. If you can't score Supremacy, you're not going to be able to play Blazing.
All right. So everyone agrees, solid power deck. You're going to have lots of opportunities. Even some of those like dice reliant surges, you're making so many attacks that it increases the chance that you will, hit perfect strike or critical effort or branching or anything like that. But
absolutely. And you get access to Lure of Battle, which is, in my opinion, better than Confusion in some instances.
Yeah.
You also still get access to Commanding Stride. You get access to free accuracy, Grievous. Just, you get everything you need in a power deck. You just have to find a good objective deck somewhere else.
Makes sense. All right, Rack and Ruin, the first deck that was not in the core box. Give me a rating of this one.
I'm gonna give it a solid 4.
Ooh, all right.
I didn't like Rack and Ruin for the longest time, and then I sat down and gave it the good old college try. And I can't stop playing it with the Exiled Dead now. It gives you everything you could possibly want because you can run the objectives nobody else does.
Yeah. And I think that's what made me think that it wasn't a good option initially, because I'm often taking it, I'm like, oh, well, Alone in the Dark. And as soon as I see a warband that can't take Alone in the Dark, I'm like, well, no, not Rack and Ruin. But I think you're about to tell us why it actually is a good option. So lay it on me.
Yeah. So stay close. You can still manage. Like, that's still a free, that I wouldn't say free, but that's still 2 glory you can get relatively effectively. But in exchange for Alone in the Dark, you're able to run Living on the Edge and Out of the Frying Pan. Both are cards that are generally discounted as being absolutely awful, because Living on the Edge requires a vulnerable friendly fighter in enemy territory, and Out of the Frying Pan requires 3 or more damaged friendly fighters with move or charge tokens in enemy territory.
Yeah.
It's a pretty difficult ask for most people. However, if we go back to Dance Dynamic, we inflict the damage whenever we bring a body back. So we have 4 guys that are always going to have a damage on them once they die the first time. So those 2 cards might as well read, I'm making up for the fact that you killed my guys.
Yeah. And I will say another advantage of objectives like this is that people have some experience, counterplaying stay close, counterplaying alone in the dark. In playing against you, think about living on the edge. That is extremely hard to block because you have so many that can kind of flow forward. But out of the frying pan, it's really hard to think about like, hey, do I need to stop? Like it's such a weird one to stop. You're not used to thinking about that. So there's some leverage right there.
Yep. And you also, with the fact that your guys come back damaged, bloody and bruised is easier because you have 4 shots at landing an attack, but you also get access to a lot of pings that your opponent is likely to just give you for one reason or another. Same for spread out. It just score this if it in an end phase. If there's a fighter in each territory, might as well have $1.
Yeah. Oh, that's just another one that you just basically see in almost no other warband that would be taking Rack and Ruin, but this one just takes it as a real easy one.
Careful advance. Score this immediately after a friendly fighter moves. If two other friendly fighters have move tokens at enemy territory, I'm gonna have a fun moment here. I misread that the first time that I read it. I didn't realize that that was after any move for the longest time. So I'd move guys across the board, draw into it, and then have to think I have to move that one of the guys in enemy territory or move a guy into enemy territory. No, you could charge. Like if you puppeteer with Markov and Regulus, you can charge backwards. You're making a move there. You then score it because you've got 2 dudes with move tokens in enemy territory.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it makes sense. Wow. Nice. We already know that you like confusion out of the power deck. You talked about some of those pings helping out. What else do you like out of the power deck?
Sidle Up is a fantastic card. Fireproof is might as well just say you can't kill me this turn. Flee when your zombies come back with 2 damage and are slow because no one is dead. Doubling their speed is good. In the upgrade side of things, Henchman, when paired with the right deck, just says make a success. Great speed. Free speed is always good. Desperate defense is another way of making it so that the Diantelos and or Markov cannot die for a turn. You get a little bit of everything from this deck, and it pairs very well with a lot of options. And a really fun card that is not good but deceptively useful is Misfortune.
This is another trigger for those end phase objectives?
Yes. I've been using Misfortune as the secret sauce to make out of the frying pan easier. Because as far as where I'm currently aware, and I'm entirely okay with being wrong on this because this is silly. Because move action, move ability, and move core ability are all like the same thing. When you dance with Diantelos, all 4 of your zombies can move or attack, and it specifically says can use that ability. If you put Misfortune onto one of the zombies at the start of the game, you can dance, move, pass Misfortune between all 4 of your conductive zombies, and put a damage onto them, which functionally doesn't change any math. Realistically, you're on 2 wounds, a stiff breeze blows you over. Like, sure, you die to a range shot, but if a person was taking a range shot anyway, they probably were just doing a throwaway action anyway.
Yeah.
And if they die, they die.
Yeah.
That just means they're now not worth $1. They were going to die anyway.
You're going to get that guy at some point. That just happened earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's those are solid reasons to take. So that's our highest rated one to date. So let's keep going though. Next one released was Reckless Fury.
I don't think Reckless Fury in a 7-fighter warband is supremely playable. There used to be better. I had some fun playing Reckless Fury with Countdown before the initial FAR list came out with Loon Court. It was a lot of fun. Was it good? But it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, without specific tricks to like add extra charge tokens out there. I mean, you have all these things to do, extra attacks, extra moves, but you're not handing out extra charge tokens innately, and that I think puts a cap on what you can do here.
Yep, precisely. And then it also gets really weird where since Regulus and the zombies come back with raise counters, they're now worth 0 bounty. So if you're trying to set up Arena Mortis, they don't act like they count, but they also don't count for the purposes of it. It's just one of those decks that, like, on paper could be more fun, but just won't because of how charging interacts with this warband.
Sure, makes sense. How about Edge of the Knife?
A solid 3. You get good accuracy. You get fewer pushes than I'd like in a deck. The objective suite is doable with one exception. Actually, let me downgrade it to 2 because which one is it? Calm Before the Storm, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Calm Before the Storm. Since all your zombies come back damaged, and you want them to be adjacent, you're not going to be scoring that. You're stuffing that for yourself.
Yeah.
Which leaves you with Usurper as your only other option, and we all agree that Kill a Leader with an end phase in your hand is not a good
great
card. So you're bringing it for the ploys and upgrades, and then Trial of the Tempered, which, to be fair, you're likely to score, assuming you can land attacks, just because the dentist has a big target on his head, so does Markov, so they're statistically either going to die or get tempered over the course of the game.
That makes sense. I think it's another one that you assume that you might reach for real quick, just because you have a bunch of tempered fighters right out of the gate doing things. But yeah, there's some real reasons why it doesn't sing quite like you might think. Now, how about a Madison favorite, Realmstone Raiders?
I still hate Skylar for making me do the torture experiment that was that deck. So before, it was at least playable with this warband. You have reasonably accurate attacks, and you do make a lot of them, but like, you're not going to be able to score Hoarder's Hobble that easily, and you also have to track like 9 different things. Otherwise, you're just telegraphing what you're actually playing for. You're already playing 4D chess. You don't need to add another thing to memorize for your warband to play. You really just don't.
Yeah.
The power cards are okay. I'm gonna give it a 1.
A 1? Yeah.
Give it a 1.
That makes sense.
Actually, I'm gonna give it less than that. I'm gonna give it an uninspired fighter, because something I wanted to point out. I'm not sure if this was in the text before. If that's true, I played this wrong against Skylar, but it's immediately after the first successful melee attack at an action step. You only get one raid. So even if you're making 4 attacks, you only get the 1.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. In an action step. That's real interesting, because I think I've probably seen this played wrong as well, with like Rippas that were making multiple attacks. Good catch. All right. Yeah. That makes actually a fair amount of difference, especially, because you're instinctively like, hey, making a lot of attacks, a lot of chance for raids, but it's only the first. Okay. All right. Yep. Well, let's push it to Raging Slayers.
I'm going to give it a tentative 2. Tentative 2. I want to give it a try and see what can be done with it, because now that it does, you already have 2 rerolls generally. If you're making an accurate attack, you already generally have 2 rerolls. All this allows you to do is turn on crit stagger, so you then get extra damage. Like, you guaranteeably get your crit stagger. You guaranteeably get overload. You can turn off stand fast, so you can pinball better. Like, there's a lot to go for if you can make your fighters enraged, which is the difficult part, because you can only hand out the extra enrage token if your fighter had a charge token prior to the start of the turn. So you need to hard charge and then dance, or you need to like have improvised attack to make an extra attack out of sequence. Like, you need ways to do stuff like that to hand out extra enrage tokens. But if you can, there's something there. Yeah.
I guess Puppeteer could trigger splash some rage out if with the double charge there. But you're right.
Well, you need to have the charge before. You need to have the charge token before, like, at the start of the turn. You can't be giving it and then make the attack. So it's not a charge, become enraged, make the attack, hand out another one, if I'm reading it right.
I'll say immediately after picking a friendly fighter to charge or picking a friendly fighter to attack, if they already had a charge, you can give that fighter. So I think you could, if you say, hey, I'm going to puppeteer, Regulus is charging, I'm picking him to charge, now he's enraged.
And or.
Yeah.
Oh, and or. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I missed that. I missed the and or. I thought it was just or.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that way they get to hand out a couple extra.
Yep.
Still a little bit of tough sledding, but definitely some interesting options there. And boy, would I hate to see what is that lethal strike? A zombie all of a sudden
Haymaker comes swinging in.
No, thank you. Yeah, decent enough stuff there. And then I guess depending on exactly how they would define whether you're taking a core action or not, there's some interesting implications for murderous instincts. Giving Grievous to a guy.
Yes.
But that depends exactly how that's defined in there. But yeah. And I bet I'll say there's another one. There's a push one in there. Is it United in Anger? That's one of those push cards that always kind of breaks my brain exactly how it works, but I bet there's something there too.
That sounds right.
That's got something. Yeah. Anyway.
There's something there. I haven't cooked with it yet. Right. There's something there.
All right. Next up, and I have a feeling that you're going to be fairly warm on this one. Deadly Synergy. What's your rating?
0. Terrible deck. No, it's one of their best decks. Easy 4 with an inspired D'Angelos. Like it's one of those decks that the opportunity cost of not taking it is very high, which is an idea that I feel like is strange in this game when it comes to deck pairings. You know, you get access to really solid objectives. Outmuscle just kind of happens. United Aid just kind of happens. Aggressive Unity just kind of happens. Or not United Aid. I was thinking aggressive Unity with that. What is it?
Is this the one where if you roll a flank on the attack, the
helping
hand. There you go. Yeah,
it just kind of happens.
Yeah,
especially if you have henchmen.
Right. Right. Then it's just about guaranteed to happen. So.
Yep. And then in the ploy suite, you get time strike. Time strike allows you to have an extra die on Regulus. United Front gives you extra defense dice. Take one for the team as a fun card that you can try to min-max for to save D'Angelos by spawning zombies next to him. It's a really funny thing that you can try to do. You get Sidestep. Defy Duo is a good card, though I've found it's less helpful than it should be, especially in the pairing that I like to play.
Interesting. I mean, it's pretty great, but I guess the heal is a big part of what often makes it great. And if you're looking to have damaged fighters, then not so much. Yeah, it's a good point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you're aiming for damaged fighters, spoilers, that card stuffs.
Oh, weird. I can't believe you found a scenario where Defiant Duo is not a good card.
It's strange. I find all the weird solutions.
Yeah. What do you think, Brother in Arms? Have you included that, and have you had much opportunity? It seems like
it is
an uninspired.
It is a fantastic card.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
It is a fantastic card, especially with coordinated death blow in the deck. You get two bites at the apple with it. You can use D'Angelos' beating stick from a zombie, and depending on how the FAQ is interpreted, determines whether you can, as I'm going to continue using, Wings of War with Brother in Arms.
The extra move?
No, so when I say that, Wings of War you can play even if you don't have an initially legal charge.
I see what you're saying. Sure.
So if I don't have an initially legal attack, can I Brother in Arms? The FAQ is not particularly clear on that, I would say.
Sure.
Because it's specifically referring to having an attack. Like you can't make a ranged fighter suddenly have a melee attack. You can't have a ranged melee fighter gain a ranged attack. You have to have a melee attack become a melee attack. And so there are some people who would say that requires you to be able to make the attack.
Yeah.
You have to have a legal attack that you can play.
So you couldn't just be 2 hexes away, say, I'm going to swing at the air. Just kidding. I've got Burrowing Strike. Now I'm actually attacking somebody. Or it's a little unclear how that works.
I mean, I would say yes, under the precedent of Wings of War.
Sure, that makes sense. Interesting. All right. But yeah, I mean, solid all the way through.
100%.
Yeah. Battering ram, right?
You,
like knock somebody off where they need to be, and that guarantees that they're getting your drive back, all that. Yeah.
If you've got the upgrade slot.
Yeah.
It's a really good card, but it's only if you got the upgrade slot.
Fair enough. Actually,
because that's competing with Great Fortitude, Keen Eye, Titan of Combat.
Yeah. And Great Fortitude, just detouring for a second there, how often is that going on not Markov or Dantalos? Does that go on zombies?
I have played it on Regulus precisely once, and it was to stuff Trial of the Tempered.
Fair enough. But otherwise, it's your two guys that are not just endlessly dying and coming back.
Yeah. It changes the math on trying to kill them. Like, D'Angelo's being 2 block with 5 wounds is very different.
Yeah, big time.
4 wounds.
Sure. Okay.
Markov being 4 wounds as opposed to 3 wounds, it's the same thing. Like in version 1, I would regularly put Brash Scout or their faction upgrade for +1 wounds onto Regulus, because a 3 wounds or a 4 wounds Regulus is very different from a 3 wounds Regulus, because he had a 3rd wound in the first edition.
Yeah. And as often as he would come back too.
Precisely. Like it's one of those, need that little bit of extra effort that's required changes all of the math.
It does. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go with the box pairing for that one. Hunting Grounds. What's your take on this one?
I really want to give it a try, but it's one of those decks that if you as an Exiled Dead player pick it, you're basically saying you're not entering my territory.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
You're just not going to come here. I don't care how tasty you make the dentist. I'm not crossing that line, so help me God.
Yeah. You deployed Dantalos facing the wrong way with no upgrades in the front line. Come on, just come over here.
Like just for the fact that Keep Them at Bay exists. Just for the fact that card exists. Making all of your zombies have range 2 is absurd for 1 turn.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh man.
Like the fact that card, I want to play that card, but no one's gonna come to you. I don't care if you're playing Wormspat, you're not gonna cross that line.
Yeah. I think Hunting Grounds with Exiled Dead suffers from the same thing it suffers everywhere else, which is if you can't find a way to make them come to you, then it's just not happening.
100%. So we're going to put that at a solid 1 with an inspired 1 as a treat, just because I want to like it, but I don't think it's playable.
Fair enough. All right. Last one, Nexus of Power. Any I'm sure you looked at it. I don't know if you've tried it yet. What do you think here?
I have played it a bit with Loon Court. I want to sit down and try it with the Sons of Velmorn. I've got that deck brewed up. And I think there's some spice to it. It is a deck that is interesting on paper. It's not what people want, but it is a slam dunk for me. I personally really like it. I've always been a fan of like flexi decks that want you to stand and do things, just because it I always find that diversifying your assets when it comes to scoring is valuable. If you're all in on one game plan, you just kind of lose if that game plan doesn't work. Giving yourself a route back in is always preferable. It's why I don't like full flunge aggro. If I'm not making attacks, I just lose because I am not hitting attacks. I'd like to be able to hit attacks and do something.
Sure, that makes sense. So you talked about trying them with some other ones. How well do you think it goes with Exiled Dead, though?
I don't know. It's difficult to gauge because it suffers from the same issue that Pillage and Plunder does, where you only have 3 fighters that can delve tokens back, and it does want you to stand on things for some of the objectives, but at the same time, it also doesn't for some of the more important scoring ones, like Lone Wolves. You can just fix that in a funny way. Since you have Dance, you can walk 2 guys into a position to score that for you. It's not difficult. And it doesn't require you to hold the treasure token. It just requires it to be a treasure token.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna be able to score Skin of Their Teeth, which I think most people are already discounting, but it's one of those, like, you still have to account for the fact that you can't score it. Close the Vice is just kind of gonna happen for the same reason that Aggressive Unity just kind of happens.
Yeah. Interesting.
And Calculated Strike might as well, like, you've got 2 rerolls. Eventually you're gonna get a crit. Sometimes, maybe, who knows?
Sure.
And in the power deck, you've got some really fun cards. Pilfer is just sidestep but different. Dig In helps you keep people in position. Hold the Line helps you keep people in position. Unearth Treasure allows you to flip a cover token that you're not standing on. Unfortunately, this one doesn't work the same way that Crumbling Mine works, because it specifically says it does not have a fighter on it. It doesn't say holding it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then you get access to Inviolate for Diantelos, Mirror Shield for Diantelos. Overreach is an interesting card. Same for Opportunist. Opportunist is a really interesting card to bring into play, because you can do the same thing that you did with Bold Engineer in the first game, where you just run one zombie to tokens that you want to flip around, wait for your opponent to charge, and then flip that token for you. So you have Delveless delving for a zombie.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting.
And then a gun for a zombie.
Yeah, right. A really good gun on Starmaw.
Yeah.
Especially for you, since it staggers people, get you some stagger out on there to really take advantage. Yeah. All right. So what's the final rating on that?
I'm going to put it at a 2 currently. I need to sit down and play with it. I need to get my hands on the deck. I want the deck to be out. Like, properly.
Fair enough. That tracks. All right. Well, that was all 12 decks. I think that was a pretty good rundown. If we were going to, what are your, maybe your top couple of pairings that you've thought have been most effective with them so far?
I mean, it wouldn't be cool of me not to mention, I didn't go to Worlds. I wasn't the guy who played them at Worlds, but Artol did, and he played Blazing Assault with Deadly Synergies with them. It's a good pairing. I can't discount that the fact that it's not a good, or that it is a good pairing. I just don't like Blazing Assault. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But beyond that little statement, I have been incredibly partial to Deadly Synergies Rack and Ruin. Running 13 objectives with that, you can get to a nice, comfy glory ceiling of 19. You get a insanely good power deck between your ploys. All of them are just straight gas. And then upgrades, you actually have competition. Like, you have to figure out it's a really hard 11th card to cut. It's a really hard 11th card to cut. And then on the other side of things, I've been having fun playing with Pillage and Rack, or Pillage and Deadly Synergy. I think is worse than Pillage Rack. I think of the 2 decks between Deadly Synergy and Rack, you're better off taking Rack if you have to make a choice between the 2, just because you get more pushes, you get more damage reduction, and you get more pings or stagger depending on what your opponent wants to let you have. It just gives you everything you want.
Nice. Well, that's a pretty good rundown, I think. I think I'd like to kind of wrap it up with what kind of matchups have you found the most challenging? If there are some, and what have you found maybe the most in your advantage so far, just generally speaking? Or you can be specific to warbands if you want.
Wormspat are always a problem. Even after their nerf, just the fact that they have 2 defense dice, and they get to inspire basically for free, because your guys come back damaged. If we were Sepulchral Guard and we came back undamaged, 1, Rack would be out of the question. But 2, it would make their inspire a little harder to accomplish. But even still, they just have to hit 3 attacks and they inspire. It's the life, and they have some of the most accurate attacks in the game.
Sure.
You're going to see them inspired by the end of Activation 3 in most games.
Yeah. All right. So those stat blocks specifically, because of their accuracy, their inspire, and then their defense being so high.
Yeah. But realistically, anytime you see 2 defense dice, be it dodge or cleave, or be it dodge or block, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
That second defense dice just turns every attack into a gamble, just because they now have the ability to bounce you off of them with some reliability.
Okay.
Some of the most fun games I've had were against Soul Raid. It's just a fun back and forth. But even still, with that back and forth, it is not an easy game. They are still very good. They have accurate attacks. They have decent defense. They are spooky. And Skinnerkin is another fun one. Just because even before the nerf, when they could heal in every power step, if they just wanted to throw haunches to the wind, if you missed an attack, they cool. They now heal back to full. It's still kind of a problem. It takes them longer, but all of their pairings give them lots of out of sequence pushes, same as you. So it's going to be a back and forth battle of who's pushing to where.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And every game, it's just who can hit more attacks and who can position the attacks better. And since you have to play in a weird off tempo beat and they can just charge you, you're going to need to be ready with that hard charge button.
Okay. What are your thoughts about what warbands do you feel like are the most you're most scared of having an assassination run conducted? I mean, I think the obvious one is Skittershank, but outside of that,
Skittershank and Emberwatch.
Okay.
Skittershank and Emberwatch. Emberwatch being the deceptive one, just because they've got accurate attacks and they can teleport behind your line, or they can make that assassination run and then teleport away.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
They have the utility to do what they want.
Have you run up against Shadeborn? Has that been an issue with the Shadow Charge?
I played one game against Jazz. She did not try to assassination run D'Angelo's because I was providing a lot of interesting puzzles for her to solve, and I don't think her deck actually wanted to make that assassination run in a weird way.
Okay.
But I've only played that one game against the Shadeborn. I do believe that that's probably going to be a scary game, just because realistically, Slithale, the leader, is going to teleport behind you, and since they have cleave, they're just going to hit you really good a lot. So you need to be ready for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, we'll have to get Thomas on, get his take on that. So, all right, I am going to start to wrap it there. Is there anything else you want to talk about with Exiled Dead, or anything else for that matter? The floor is yours.
No, I think I've taken enough time to go over them and talk about what makes them interesting, what makes them fun, and what makes them good. They're certainly a puzzle to sit down and give a good college try to. Even if they're not your cup of tea, they're still a fun thing to play once you've put 2 games into them.
Yeah. I think something I've said about them in previous editions, and certainly more than once on this podcast, is it feels like when I'm playing them, I'm playing a game that is 25% different than Underworlds. I'm playing some game that is a parallax version of Underworlds, because they just changed
tilted 25 degrees from left.
Exactly, where I'm just okay, I can't think about things the same way as I usually do, because your action efficiency is so different. And that really makes for an interesting puzzle to be on the other side. So yeah, I think it's fun that they're in there, and I hope to see. Well, I'd say I hope to see more of them. They're always so exhausting to play against. I feel wrung out by the end of them. But yeah.
I'll be taking a break from them for a bit. Don't worry.
All right. But yeah, that'll about do it for us. If you want to talk to us about the episode, give us your thoughts on Exiled Dead, ask any questions, we can pass them on. If you want to chat with us, you can do it at the Discord, and Wellner's always there in our Discord, and frequents many of the other online places where Underworlds is discussed. Do you have a handle you're usually going by?
I'm usually in most of the Discords for Underworlds, I've changed my name to Wellner the Mad Scientist, just because I've got that reputation now. And it's really funny. I posted a deck over the Sons of Elmore Discord, and they're like, hold on, let him cook. I do not feel like I have that right. But I'm usually the Wellner, the mad scientist, or if not that, I'm Squire Solaire in most places as well.
Fair enough. Let's see. So yeah, you can talk to us about that. If you want to check out any of our other content, you can do that at themortalrealms.com. That's where all our different shows do their content. You can look at our blog coverage of any releases that are coming out, all that sort of stuff. But got to tell you, you don't get out of this for free. There's always always a flavor text quiz. And you may have predicted this, but your one hint is that this card does, in fact, picture the Exiled Dead on it. I felt like that was kind of a necessity. And I really wanted to take, because it seemed very appropriate, was Another Swing from Deadly Synergy, which has the Exiled Dead surrounding Herax.
Yep.
That card has no flavor text, sadly, so we had to go a
which
different.
Is unfortunate.
Yeah, it would have been perfect. Instead, we're going to have to go with the following, and this one is unattributed. There are some who have stared into the fires of devastation and been left with a craving for more.
I'll be the first to admit I'm not great at flavor text. I want to say that is from. I want to say that's in Rack and Ruin.
It is not, but you're roughly in the same. It is a mastery deck, and it is a deck that you rated fairly low. Although it is a card that you would probably take if you did take this deck.
Oh, is it in Realmstone?
No,
that wouldn't be surprising. Is that?
I'll give you one more. It's an objective.
It's an objective. I'm really bad at flavor text.
No problem. We'll go. We'll see if any listeners got it. It is going to be Spread Havoc.
I'm mad. I've played that card too many times. I'm mad now.
It is a little. It is a little tough to say, because it is clearly, and I'm not good with the names of the individuals. I think that's Bolt on there, the guy with a beard and his brain showing. But
yeah, that's Bolt. Arms high.
Yeah,
that's Bolt.
There's a explosion, so it's kind of washed out. So it doesn't even track entirely as like you don't see it and immediately think, hey, there's a Exiled Dead minion on there. But yeah. But anyway, hey, thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to you for coming on. Really appreciate that. And coming up next, we're going to let the rest of the team kind of cook with it. I'm going to be going on spring break here with the kids, and hopefully Emmett and I will make a cameo appearance at Adepticon. See anybody who's traveling in there. We won't be able to participate because we're getting in flying a red eye into Saturday morning. It's just not quite lining up, but hopefully we'll be able to come and say hi. Maybe play a little Blood on the Clock Tower. We'll see. But yeah.
If you do make it, it'd be great to see you.
Yeah. Hey, recommended listening. I went. There's a lot of sort of zombie songs, but I kind of had to go with the one that gives me the gift that I always think of whenever I'm playing against these guys, and so that's going to be Michael Jackson's Thriller. For what the heck?
If it was any other choice.
For what the heck? I've been Davy,
and I've been Jacob.
Welcome to Warhammer. Wow, great start. Here we go.
Let's try that again.
Yeah. What is this show called? All right.
I have this nasty habit of talking faster than I think, so I'll have to take a minute for my brain to catch up, and I'll sit there and stutter for a moment.
Well, we do have to make sure that people get the true Wellner experience. So I'll yeah.